It's a government institution. We know that. And they're going to get their money whether you paid it in the premium before or you pay it in the premium after with the fee. Hey everybody, welcome back to Retirement Fundamentals. I am your co-host Kylee Mollotte, joined with Ryan Anderson, and we are going back to our roots. We're continuing, right? Medicare. So earlier in the episodes, we've gone over original Medicare Parts A and B. We've gone over Part C, and we went over Medicare supplements or Medigap policies. So we're going to continue the conversation to our final Part D, Medicare Part D. D is for drugs. And like Ryan said, that's kind of the only thing about Medicare that makes any sense. So we're going to go into prescription drug plans and how they affect you and when to get involved with them and what it takes to keep them up to date. So Ryan, I'll let you take it from there.
All right. So you're 65 years old. You're a newly minted Medicare recipient. You've got your Medicare Part A. You got your Medicare Part B. You have either a Advantage plan, Medicare Part C, or a Medigap or a Medicare supplement policy. Wonderful. Now you also need your prescription drug plan, Medicare Part D. Many Advantage plans have Medicare Part D built into it. Um, the Medicare supplement plans, it is an extra piece. They're not combined. So you have to have two policies there. Just be aware of that. However, the coverages and the rules are pretty much the same. So with a Medicare Part C plan, that comes with Part D built into it. Great. Most of them do. There are a few exceptions to that. Medicare supplements, they are a separate plan. Now, Medicare Part D plans, Medicare drug plans, are operated and run by individual insurance companies. These plans are much like Medicare Advantage plans in the fact that they are based geographically on where you live. Depending on which county and which state you live in, will determine what plans are available. They will determine what the premiums are. You might have a plan by one company that's basically got the same name, the same benefits, the same everything in one state. The next state over, in different county, same plan, same benefits, same everything, completely different price. Just be aware of that. So if we go through here, that you've got your, as a vast majority, I'm going to be speaking some broad sweeping strokes. There's going to be exceptions to all of this, but this is just going to give you some basic type of stuff. Most prescription drug plans are anywhere from $5 to $45 a month. And what they go through, and that premium is taken out of your out of your Social Security check, or that premium is part of your Medicare Advantage plan. Each of these plans have got a deductible. Now, the thing about it is that deductible changes from year to year. I'm looking at the numbers here, and on the sheet that I'm looking at, it shows that the deductible is $505. So that was the 2023 number. So as you go through, it's $505. So, and depending on which level of drug you have, that $505 is your expense. The thing about it is that as you go through here, the way these things work, that every year during the annual enrollment, and that starts from October 15th to December 7th, you have the option to change your plan. Or if you're just turning 65 and you're getting into Medicare for the first time, you can choose your plan and it'll take effect the same month that your other plans do, depending on your birthday. So you pay that monthly premium and that just comes out of your Social Security check. You pay that premium. You get on the drugs. Now, the drugs are listed at different levels. They're called tiers. Tiers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Some plans have a tier 6 drug. Just be aware, not all of them do. The lower the tier 1 and 2, tier 1s are your generics. These are generally a very low cost, no cost drug. Tier 2, a little bit more expensive. Tier 3, a lot more expensive. Tier 4, really expensive. Tier 5 are the testing, a lot of times kind of, the really stuff that is not quite out there all the way. They're still in the process of testing, and you have to get special permission to get on them. Now, the thing about it is that as you're going through and looking at this, that deductible you have, that 500 and some dollars a year that you have, may not apply to all of your drugs. Quite often, to say you've got a $500 deductible, tier 1 and 2 don't count. Tier 1, 2, and 3 don't count. It only accounts for tier 3, 4, and 5. But that changes from one plan to the next. Now, the thing about it is that as you go through and you look at this, that this is where it is very important to have an agent to help you with it. And if you're trying to do this on your own, props to you. My recommendation is go to retirementfundamentals.org, request to meet with a local agent, and they can sit down and go over this with you. And what they do is they'll go into Medicare.gov, they'll take all of your prescriptions, they'll take all of your geographic areas, they'll figure out which pharmacy you go to. Because frankly, the costs on these things vary from plan to plan, pharmacy to pharmacy within the same plan. It's crazy that this is probably the single most volatile expense within a prescription, within a Medicare. Would you agree, Kylie?
Oh, absolutely. And they change every year. I'll give you a short story. I had a client, she was on 3 prescriptions. I was doing an annual enrollment review with her. We'd been together for 4 years. She'd been my client for 4 years. And I went in and she was like, Kylee, I was on 3 last year. I'm on 2 this year. I was able to drop 1. So we celebrated for that. And she's like, I'm good. I pay like $6 a month and my drugs are $1 to $2. And I said, well, I'm here. Let's just check it anyway. It's going to take 5 minutes. So I go in and check. She was on an inhaler that she used either daily or weekly. I can't remember,
Mm-hmm.
but she used this inhaler frequently and was refilling it once a month. Um, she did get a notice saying there have been changes to your plan. However, they don't tell you what those changes are. So I looked. That prescription, that inhaler had dropped in the next year in January. It was going to cost her $1,200 a month to refill that prescription that was costing her $4 a month to fill now. So she got upset, rightfully so, right? If I wouldn't have come in, or if I would have just said, you know what, all right, sounds good, I'll see you next time, thanks for the visit, that cost she could have incurred. And so that happens all the time. Another thing that happens is he talks about premium, and I have a lot of clients who aren't on any drugs, and so they don't worry about it because it doesn't affect them. So I went into a client's house and I said, okay, how many prescriptions are you on? She's like, none. She was proud of it, and kudos to her, right? She was like in her late 70s and on 0 prescriptions. That's unheard of. So she's like, I'm not on any. And I said, okay, how much are you paying for your prescription drug plan every year or every month? And she was like, I think it's like $62. And my jaw dropped. I was like, you're paying $62 for your prescription drug plan and you're not on any prescriptions? And she's like, no. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I switched her, was able to get her on a $7.50 a month plan. So that's what, almost $50 in savings just there. So you need to be paying attention. They do affect you, even if you think they don't. I've been on hundreds of appointments. Those are just 2 examples that I brought right away. I can do that 10 more times. I can do that 100 more times of examples of why you need to pay attention to it. Those are just small too, because price is everything. You're on a fixed income. You're in retirement. So these things matter. You need to everything should be accounted for. So for her to pay $62 for something she doesn't use, crazy, right? So we were able to fix that. I was able to fix that woman during annual enrollment period, but if I would have shown up, 3 weeks later after annual enrollment period or 2 months later and had her call me and say, Kylee, I'm paying $1,200. No one can afford that. I mean, that's outlandish for something that you need to survive. So I know it's monotonous and you're not going to want to, but please, if you don't want to do it yourself, do what Ryan said. Go to retirementfundamentals.org, click book a call. We'll get you a professional, a local agent. They can call you same day or within that week and get your questions answered. It's we're not holding your feet to the fire. We're not going to ask for money. That's just us giving you the information that you need. So please don't hesitate to reach out because things
The thing
do
about
matter.
it is that
So sorry
the
about
thing
that,
about it
Ryan.
is a
Keep
lot of
going.
times that people are like, well, I don't have any prescription drugs, so I'm just not going to have a plan. I'll get it when I need it. Can't do that either.
Mm.
Because if you are in Medicare and you're eligible for Medicare and you don't have creditable coverage somewhere else, you have to have that prescription drug plan where every year you don't, you're accruing a penalty. And it's not just a pay a penalty and one and done. Oh, no, no, no. That's not how Medicare works. You are accruing a lifetime penalty that you're going to pay on a monthly basis for the rest of your life, depending on how long that you have been out um, without that coverage. Now, so
It's a government institution. We know that. And they're going to get their money whether you paid it in the premium before or you pay it in the premium after with the fee. So I would just get up front. If you're not on any prescriptions, my recommendation would be get on the cheapest plan. At least you have something. I mean, this happened to my uncle. He told me, his wife was like, Kylee, please tell him what he needs to get on a prescription drug plan. He was in his 70s by this point, and he wasn't. He's like, no, I'm not taking any drugs. I'm not doing that. Fast forward 8 months, within the same year, 8 months, he gets blood clots in both of his legs. Look who's on some prescriptions now. Thankfully, we were able to get him on a plan, but now he has to pay that penalty. So whether you pay it now or you're going to pay it later, I would suggest you get on a cheap plan and get signed up for it and just have it in your back pocket and say, well, that's one less McDonald's meal that I can have.
So there's this other thing that's associated with these prescription drug plans called the coverage gap, or most commonly known as the donut
Yep.
hole. So this has to do with the way that your premium, the way that you pay for your prescription drugs, and there's 5 clear steps to it. So I'm going to be looking over here. I want to make sure I get this right. So step number 1, you get your plan, and you pay your premium, and then you have the deductible, and you have to pay the deductible. So you're paying all that stuff. Then, as you go through here, and I'm looking at these things, that that if they calculate the first $4,600, now these are 2023 numbers, so the first $4,660 that they've got for that is paid for your prescriptions. And this is money that you have contributed in the form of a deductible, in your co-payments, in your premiums, and everything to do with your expenses, and the money the insurance company covers. So all the money that have been paid towards your prescriptions, $4,600. All right, $4,660, and you're good to go. All right, if you don't ever get over that amount, you never deal with the donut hole. Then, once you hit that, all of a sudden your premiums go up. Instead of having to pay just a small copayment, you're paying a percentage. You're paying a much larger chunk until you get out of the donut hole, which basically is not quite a $2,000 cost. The $2,000 have got to get paid towards your prescriptions to leave the donut hole, approximately. But here's the kicker. That $2,000, unlike the first $4,600, is not the money between you and the insurance company and everything else. This is only your cost. So once you pay it, then you leave the donut hole. And at that point in time, you move into catastrophic coverage and you have significantly less expenses. So if you've got a prescription, insulin, that's a big one. If you've got some inhalers, some of the cardiovascular drugs, some of the ongoing maintenance meds, these things are expensive and they are different from one company to the next. I have one client of mine. She has got MS, and she is on the cost for this one shot she has to take. It's like $8,000 a shot. She moves in and out of the donut hole in January every year. And so part of her whole process is she has to save up this $8,000 or $10,000 expense for her shots in January. And then she says it's really affordable the rest of the year. But I've got this big thing. She saves up her tax return. She saves up money for her prescription cost in January because she has to have this shot for her life. So there's the thing about the prescription drug plans. Be aware of the donut hole. Be aware of your monthly cost. There's a lot of things out there. And again, this is one of those things. Don't try to do this on your own. There's too many moving parts to it. There's too many areas you can mess up on.
Yeah.
And frankly, it doesn't cost you anything to have an insurance agent help you with it. Strongly recommended that you do that.
No.
So,
absolutely. You did say something, and I want to maybe put a correction on there. You talked about insulin.
Oh, that's right.
A few
You're
years
right.
ago, insulin did get passed with legislation, so you shouldn't be paying more than $35 for your insulin. So if you are paying more than that, something is wrong. So they did cap that at $35. So that what used to be, you were very right. I had a lot of clients who were on insulin, and they were paying upwards of $400 a month. So I guess America came through in that way, and now we're only paying $35 a month for insulin. So,
all right. Hey, thanks so much. Again, if you have questions on anything to do with retirement, that's what Retirement Fundamentals is about. We talk about money. We talk about healthcare. We talk about different coverages. We talk about the things that are important to you. So please drop us a line, send us a note. We'd love to answer your questions, and we're here for you. Our goal, as always, is to leave you better than we found you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. I'm Kylee Mollotte, and this is Ryan Anderson, and we are Retirement Fundamentals.